Hello, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're bringing you the 13th episode of the story Heart of a Phoenix. So, let's just dive right into this chapter, titled The Night of the Obsidian Wolves. If you've been following along, you already know the tension has been simmering for a while now. But in this chapter, man, loyalties are put to the absolute ultimate test, and a pretty deadly secret is hidden right in plain sight. We're going to break down the incredible storytelling, the brilliant deceptions, and the brutal action that makes this episode so unforgettable. Let's get right into the action.
So our story kicks off with just a massive jolt of adrenaline. It's like a switch just completely flips inside Jay. Every single trace of his usual laid-back demeanor totally vanishes as he launches himself into the fight. He leaps into the air, sweeping his sword through the darkness in this really deadly arc. I mean, in a single strike, at least 5 Obsidian Wolves just drop. But here's the totally gruesome catalyst that sets the real danger into motion. One of those severed wolf heads actually tumbles across the ground and rolls straight into the sleeping gazelle's face. Yeah, she jolts awake, goes to wipe her face, and the exact second she sees the blood smeared across her palms, that's when the nightmare truly begins.
Because what does she do? Gazelle unleashes this terrified, ear-piercing shriek, and, in a dark forest completely full of literal predators, that is absolutely the worst thing you can do. Her scream instantly flags down every remaining wolf in the forest. With a savage snarl from their leader, the entire pack just charges directly at her. Now, you really have to notice Jake's reaction here, because it's perfectly annoyed. He and Pete are already utterly overwhelmed, just fighting off this endless stream of wolves. Jake shoots Pete this really irritated glare, basically snapping, "What's a level 5 spiritual master screaming for? Can't she just run?" He is just so furious that she's acting like a helpless burden, especially while Anna, who they all believe is just some frail village girl, is at least managing to stay quiet.
But here's the thing. Gazelle isn't just a burden. She's actually about to become a highly lethal threat to our protagonist. Panic really starts clawing at Gazelle's chest as more than a dozen of these wolves completely circle her, fangs bared. She's frantically looking around, and then her gaze lands on Ariana. And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates Gazelle's malicious, twisted logic. In her own mind, she's a sacred maiden of the Celestial Palace, right? So obviously, it would actually be an honor for some ugly peasant girl to die in her place. With that dark, incredibly calculating thought, she literally bolts toward Ariana, screaming for help just to close the distance under the disguise of needing a rescue.
Ariana spins around, and her natural instincts are immediately urging her to assess the danger and, save Gazelle. But the very instant she sees Gazelle's face, she completely freezes. Gazelle sounds terrified, sure, but her eyes? Her eyes are ice cold, calculating, and just vicious. She is running straight at Ariana with a literal pack of snarling wolves right at her heels. Gazelle reaches her, lunges, and actually attempts to violently shove Ariana directly into the jaws of the wolves, literally screaming, "Die!"
But Ariana's counterattack? It is nothing short of a masterclass in calculated combat. She instantly activates Phoenix Dance, twisting gracefully to dodge that initial grab, but Gazelle totally refuses to let her escape and just lunges again. So Ariana seizes Gazelle's wrist. Now, if Ariana wasn't currently in hiding, she could have so easily used her martial arts to just fling Gazelle right into the wolves and leaped up into the trees. But she knows Pete is watching her every single move. If she reveals her true power now, her whole disguise completely falls apart. So using nothing but pure, raw physical strength, this seemingly frail village girl pivots sharply, absolutely overpowers the level 5 spiritual master, and crashes them both super heavily onto the ground.
Oh man, Gazelle's face just twists in absolute fury. Like, how dare a peasant fight back, right? But before Gazelle can even get a word out, Ariana totally beats her to the punch with an absolutely brilliant theatrical performance. She starts thrashing dramatically on the ground, looking incredibly pitiful and terrified, and loudly screams that Gazelle is trying to throw her to the wolves just because she can't outrun them. She's loudly pinning the blame exactly where it belongs. Gazelle is practically coughing up blood from sheer rage at the audacity of this fake performance, but she literally doesn't have a second to argue.
And this brings us to a really burning question for us as the audience, and honestly, the peak dramatic irony of this whole scene. Both girls have fallen right into the middle of the wolf pack together. They are literally side by side on the ground. Yet, a dozen wolves lunge straight at Gazelle, completely and totally ignoring the thrashing, screaming Ariana. Every single fang and claw is aimed solely at the furious spiritual master. So, why? What is actually going on here?
Well, the crucial point here is Ariana's incredible stealth.
While Gazelle was desperately fighting for her life and screaming internally about how unfair it all was, Ariana knew exactly why she was safe. The moment the wolves had rushed into the clearing earlier, Ariana executed this flawless magic trick. She secretly crushed a wolf repellent she had hidden in her pocket, rubbed the potent juice all across her arms, and disguised that entire movement by just pretending to tremble in absolute terror. She kept the Obsidian Wolves completely at bay, and Gazelle had absolutely zero idea.
So, in the chaotic aftermath of this fight, as Jake and Pete finally finish off the pack and rush over, the contrast between the two girls is just staggering. Ariana cautiously opens her eyes, pats herself down super dramatically, and humorously exclaims, "Oh, wow, I'm not dead." She is completely unharmed, sporting maybe just a few dirt and grass stains. Gazelle, on the other hand, is absolutely devastated. Her clothes are totally shredded, her legs are covered in deep bites and claw marks, her hair is a tangled haystack, and she's just sitting there trembling silently in utter shock.
Pete crouches down beside his ruined cousin, and you can see his usually calm face actually crack. He reaches out to touch her shoulder, and that simple touch just shatters Gazelle's silence. Her lifeless eyes suddenly focus, she grabs Pete's robe desperately, and she shrieks this wild, hysterical accusation. She calls Ariana a lying mole who knows manifestation arts. And the absolute wildest part of this story, she's completely right! Her mind is spiraling from the trauma, and she definitely sounds like a total maniac, but she has gotten dangerously close to the exact truth. I'm sure Ariana's heart literally skips a beat here.
And right when Pete is wondering if shock has just driven his cousin entirely insane, we get the arrival of royalty. Prince Warwick and Toby stroll in. And I do mean stroll. Unlike our bloodied warriors, their clothes remain utterly spotless, like they've just returned from a nice evening walk. Gazelle sees Warwick, and obviously seeking some sort of salvation and comfort, she lunges toward him. But Warwick, he simply frowns. His cold black eyes sharpen, and he smoothly steps aside. Unable to stop her own momentum, Gazelle crashes face first right into the dirt. It is such an utterly humiliating, crushing moment, leaving her just sobbing in rage, pounding her fists on the ground, and repeating her accusations against Ariana.
Now, nobody fully believes the hysterical Gazelle, obviously, but when they look at Ariana, who is completely unharmed right next to the shredded Gazelle, the sheer luck of it all is definitely deeply suspicious. This leads to a super intense physical standoff. Pete's eyes go dark. He grabs Ariana's wrist tightly, staring at her coldly, straight up demanding to know if she's a mole. But instantly, Jake grabs Ariana's other wrist. He's glaring furiously at Pete, fiercely defending her, and yelling at Pete to let her go because she clearly doesn't know manifestation arts. So Ariana is caught right in the middle of this boiling tension between two allies.
The veins on Jake's forehead are literally bulging. A fight is absolutely about to break out between them. But before anyone can throw a punch, this super calm voice rings out from behind them. "Let her go." It's Prince Warwick. His voice is chillingly detached, yet it's commanding enough to instantly slice right through the tension and completely silence the chaotic bickering. With his sharp features and composed gaze, he just looks incredibly elegant and untouchable. Pete tries to argue that Gazelle's suspicions really aren't unreasonable, but Jake quickly reminds him that the prince has spoken. So very reluctantly, Pete loosens his grip.
Jake immediately pulls Ariana behind him, asking if she's hurt. And guys, this is where Ariana puts on an absolute clinic in psychological manipulation. Today, her role's the weak, innocent girl. And after years of watching her beautiful mother manipulate people effortlessly, Ariana knows exactly how to play the flawless, fragile victim. She reddens her eyes slightly, she stubbornly holds back her tears, she makes her lashes tremble and bites her lower lip softly. It is a total masterpiece. The act is so incredibly perfect that even the suspicious, hardened Pete begins to feel a pang of guilt, wondering if he really just completely misunderstood her.
But Pete is still a logic-driven warrior at heart. He asks the million-dollar question, why did the wolves attack only Gazelle? Was Anna really that lucky? Warwick just calmly replies, she was. Warwick then glances over at his attendant, Toby, who steps in with this crucial botanical explanation that completely bails Ariana out of her predicament. Toby introduces the concept of Arctic nightgrass, which is a plant with a super potent sap used as the main active ingredient in wolf repellents. Toby, with a totally expressionless face, just breaks down the logic of Ariana's supposed luck. He notes that he can actually smell Arctic nightgrass on her. He points out a patch of it on the ground right there and states that she simply must have happened to fall onto it. As she struggled on the ground, doing her crazy theatrical thrashing from earlier, the sap spread across her body. And since Obsidian Wolves are extremely sensitive to that scent, they just avoided her.
Toby completely covers Ariana's tracks without even realizing he's doing it. He provides this flawless, airtight alibi built on pure, undeniable logic.
Gazelle's jaw literally drops. She screams that nobody is that lucky, that Ariana pushed her, that she's a lying mole. But her words just fall on totally deaf ears. Ariana just lowers her gaze slightly, playing that demure victim to the very bitter end. And this brilliantly illustrates the dark irony of this entire chapter. The hysterical, traumatized villain is literally the only person in the clearing who actually knows the truth. Gazelle is 100% right, but Ariana's brilliant deception, perfectly combined with Toby's logical misinterpretation, makes the cover-up completely successful. It's a true masterclass in survival and storytelling. But with suspicions raised and the prince now watching, you've got to wonder, how long can Ariana keep up this delicate act? If you like the story, please like and share it, and subscribe to the channel to watch future episodes. Thanks for watching.